Hello all my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. And if this is the first time that you're on my channel, my name is Vanessa Samina and I have dedicated my psychic abilities to help bring you more clarity, heal yourself, as well as become the person you've always dreamt of being. So my beautiful soul tribe, you voted on my YouTube community page that you wanted 4 ultra detailed January 2022 predictions. And that is precisely what I have prepared for you today. I've got 4 groups that you can choose from in order to receive your January prediction. And this is going to be a lengthier video, so make yourself comfortable, grab yourself a drink or a snack, get yourself situated with whatever you're doing. I know a lot of you like to listen to me on the go as well. And we will be stepping into your January predictions very shortly. But before I do so, please allow me to introduce you to the 4 groups and crystals that I have prepared for you to choose from today. Group number 1 corresponds to the Affirmations tarot deck as well as the Amazonite. Group number 2 corresponds to the Tarot in Wonderland tarot deck as well as the Howlite. Group number 3 corresponds to the Divine Feather Messenger Oracle deck as well as the Red Jasper. And group number 4 corresponds to the Spirit Animal Oracle deck as well as the Citrine. But the timestamps to all 4 groups can be found down below in the description box as well as pinned to the top of the comment section. So I will now provide you with a little moment of privacy so you can meditate on the 4 groups and take as much time as you need and as serves you, because after all, my readings are here in order to provide you with value, guidance, as well as reassurance and uplifting energy. So feel free to pause the video right here, but don't go too far as we're going to get into the readings momentarily. So by now you've hopefully been able to select one of these 4 groups. I will be starting off your January predictions with the Affirmations tarot deck in connectivity to the Amazonite. So if this is the group that you chose, then you can continue watching, and to all of my other beautiful groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello group number 1 and welcome to your reading. You chose the Affirmations tarot deck in connectivity to the Amazonite. The Amazonite is a crystal that is especially good for anyone who is hot-headed or hot-tempered or just going through a phase where they have a lot of stress and internal heat that's been building up, because this crystal, the Amazonite, helps to kind of calm your nerves as well as keep you in a space where you feel more centered. But let's move into your reading with the Affirmations tarot so we can figure out exactly what is coming towards you during the month of January, the first month of 2022. I'm excited to see exactly what's happening during the month of January for you. So we've got Judgment as well as the Knight of Pentacles. So I can definitely see here that you're setting really high goals and maybe even some New Year's resolutions when it comes to your finances as well as where you'd like to go in your career. The Knight of Pentacles corresponds to all things in the earthly realms that has to do with your health, your job, as well as your overall time management. And I can see here within Judgment that you're looking back at 2021, and in January you want to change things. You want to do things very differently. And to you, the start of a new calendar year is of course the perfect time for you to also implement new habits, because everything feels fresh and new. So in the Judgment card, I can definitely see you connecting with yourself in a sense of trying to uplift yourself to do better, not setting New Year's resolutions that you feel like you're going to fail at. As I can see here in the Knight of Pentacles that you've been there, done that. You've set New Year's resolutions that you didn't keep or that you had to constantly reset, and you just kind of felt bad when you came to the end of the year thinking back at all of the big resolutions that you set at the beginning. So the Knight of Pentacles shows me here that you've been through it emotionally when it comes to these New Year resets, but you're wanting to do things differently in January 2022 and actually build habits that last and actually make sure that your New Year's resolutions or the new habits that you're trying to bring into your life are realistic and that they stick. So you're starting small and you're going to habit stack. You're going to build on that. And in case you didn't know, group number 1, habit stacking is when you pile habits, positive habits, healthy habits onto habits that already exist. And I can see here within the High Priestess that that is exactly what you're looking to do in January. So if you, for example, wake up every single morning and you would immediately get ready rather than doing that habit, you are actually already putting your headphones next to your bed or your running shoes, your yoga mat, a nice tall glass of water so that you can either meditate, you can go for a run, you can do yoga or some sort of other activity on your yoga mat, or drink water first thing in the morning, and already have that healthy habit right there for you before you get into getting ready for the day. So the High Priestess shows me here that you're all about optimizing your living space and your living arrangement in January so that things flow seamlessly and effortlessly. And group one, you would be surprised and, quite frankly speaking, possibly also very shocked at what a huge difference it makes when you create this kind of flow in your living environment and your workspace. I, for example, already have my yoga mat like rolled out and ready to go, and that creates a little bit less resistance to getting to my mat every single morning because I don't need to think about it. It's already there. I already have a full glass of water on my bedside table for every single morning, so I can immediately hydrate myself, and there's no excuse. Everything is already ready, and that is one thing that I can see you doing that will actually create lasting habits and lasting changes, and not just resolutions that you do for 2 or 3 weeks and that you fall off with again. Next up, we've got the Nine of Swords. So group one, you did vote that you wanted all of the nitty-gritty details. You voted that on my YouTube community page, that that's what you wanted for your January predictions. Now, the Nine of Swords, we will go into detail about this. This stands for some sort of nightmares, for some sort of situations that you're afraid of. Okay, you're already feeling really anxious and, possibly also heated. After all, you did feel drawn to the Amazonite intuitively, and that may be because you need the Amazonite and its energies to rebalance yourself and come to a place where you don't feel so afraid and you're not afraid to look, so to say. So group one, I don't want you to be worried about this, but I do want you to understand here that having nightmares or just overall feeling anxious in January, that is something that you won't be alone with. A lot of other people are going through it as well, as I can see here within Judgment, that you can definitely feel that others are going through similar struggles as you are. But the difference here in the Nine of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles and the High Priestess is that you have a lot more strength in January to get through it and to not allow for yourself to overthink it or be overcome by negative emotions or negative self-talk, and also just overall dreams and thoughts that are scary. I can see here within the Ace of Pentacles that you are solely focused on how you can level up financially and in your career right off the bat. And yeah, you are kind of afraid about what if it doesn't work out, or what if you don't actually reach your goals. So I can definitely see that there is some fear and anxiety around you not reaching your goals by the end of 2022. And you can already feel a little bit of pressure here in January. One thing that I definitely want to point you and guide you towards, group number one, in the High Priestess, is to try to connect with those fears on a deeper level, so you can actually understand where they're coming from and actually start to work on them and do inner child work or even parent work, right? To kind of reparent yourself if you feel like you don't have anyone there who's guiding the way. And this is especially true for any of you in group number one who come from a background or a family where you're maybe the first one to be very successful or to have these really big dreams that you're going after in the earthly realms, and trying to break a cycle or a pattern that was maybe not as healthy as the ones you're trying to implement for 2022 and beyond. The Queen of Swords shows me here that there is an air sign who is going to affect you and maybe even scare you a little bit. But there's also a reason why you're here, group one. Don't forget that. The Queen of Swords shows me someone who might put some fear in you, instill some fear in you, and tell you, well, I've tried that before and it didn't work. I've tried starting my own business and that didn't work out. Or I tried to eat more healthily and go vegetarian or vegan or just exercise more, and look what happened to me. So I can definitely see here in the Nine of Swords connected to the Queen of Swords that this is someone who is kind of filled with drama, and they like to put fear into other people because somehow that covers up their own insecurities, or at least that's how it feels like to them. And that's why you're here receiving this reading, group number one, because you're meant to already know that this person is coming towards you, and rather than allowing them to instill more fear than necessary into you, you already know that this person has their own things that they're working through, that they're kind of just projecting onto you. So yes, you will have your fair share of worries and fears, which are completely normal. Everybody goes through phases where they have a bit more fearfulness in them than during other times, and I see in the Ace of Pentacles that it definitely has to do with the fact that it is a fresh calendar year, and you want to set your expectations and your sights high, but not so high that you're definitely going to be disappointed by the end of the year. You want it to be realistic, but at the same time, you don't want your goals to be too easy, right? You want to ensure that it's still a challenge and that you'll still feel really proud of yourself. So it's all about finding that balance for you during the month of January, and that is where a little bit of anxiety arises. And the best thing you can do for yourself, group 1, is to stay away from this Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra person. That's what their birth chart is heavy on, as they're not going to bring any positivity to this equation, and they're going to be projecting their own fears onto you. They're most likely also older than you, and the way that they use their words is kind of manipulative, and they have feminine energy, so they most likely identify themselves as female. But I do want you to know here in the Queen of Swords that this can also represent someone who identifies as male or non-binary, and just overall has this very strong air sign energy about them. Next up, we've got the King of Cups. So in the King of Cups, we have a completely different person for you. The King of Cups, on the other hand, is someone who has strong water sign energy. So think a Pisces, a Cancerian, or a Scorpio. They're someone who is older than you, who is more experienced than you, and who has been through trials and tribulations, and they're reminiscing about where you are during January 2022, because it reminds them about when they were just starting out, and just being around you kind of makes them feel really young and inspired. And I do see here within the Hierophant that this is someone who wants you to keep faith and have faith in your abilities and what you're able to create in this lifetime. And I can see that you connect with this person on a deeper and more spiritual level. Here in connectivity to the Ace of Pentacles, this is someone who you may see as a mentor. This is someone who you may see as kind of like a guide, almost like a bit of an angel, group number 1. And in the Judgment card, I want you to understand that they don't judge you at all. So even if you feel like this little itty bitty mouse right here that's looking up to them, if they are represented in the sun, they're just giving you life force. They're nurturing you. They're giving you warmth and energy, and they're reminding you to stand tall and to not feel like just because you're starting something new or just because you're trying out a fresh approach, that means that it can't turn into something big. So there is definitely a little bit of someone trying to hold you back and project their own insecurities onto you, and then there is someone who is definitely trying to uplift you. Think about it as a situation almost like if you had a parent who was this air sign who never got to fulfill their dreams in life, and they're kind of projecting this fear of failure or this feeling of defeat onto you, and they're telling you, well, I don't know if it'll work, because maybe for them nothing ever worked out, or they never had the courage to take the leap of faith. But then you have another parent who's maybe more open-minded or successful, or believes in your success being something that is reachable a lot more, and they're the one who's kind of pulling you into a different direction. So if you can choose, right, if these are two friends or parents or just people who you can choose to be around, know that the King of Cups is a lot more valuable for you to spend time around during the month of January, group number 1, and you will want to avoid the Queen of Swords, as also they're a very quick person. They are a very intelligent human being as well, but this individual during the month of January is going through their own trauma, which is reoccurring every single year. And with the moon literally just popping out of the pile of cards, I do want you to also understand that you will intuitively know that they're going through something. You will understand here in the Queen of Swords that them projecting their fears onto you doesn't really have anything to do with you. It is all about what's going on with them. And in the moon, I definitely do also want you to understand that there's a big difference between excitement that is fear-filled because you're excited about success or what success could potentially be, and then there's also this excitement that is you just being terrified, and you don't want to move into the area code of being terrified. So stay away from the Queen of Swords, as already mentioned. I just want to make it absolutely clear. It could even be a romantic partner that you simply should distance yourself from a lot more during the month of January. What they really need is to not be in your business and talking about your career moves and your success. What they truly need is to deal with their own things. And that is where I can see here in the Five of Wands that there may be some misunderstandings or even some arguments, group one. So instead of taking anything personally that this air sign or this person who is slightly arrogant during the month of January, like I was saying, rather than taking anything that they say personally, try to remind yourself here that if this is how they're treating you, imagine how they're treating themselves, and see this as a kind of learning experience and a way how you can remind yourself that it really is never about you. When anger is being projected onto you, it's always about that other person and where they are in life, and that you have really amazing support. And you don't need everybody to support you, and not everybody will, especially the more successful you become and the less people can just be indifferent about you. You will come to find that some people are really ride or die for you. They would do anything and they want to see you succeed. And then you have the people who are silent and in a way haters. Okay, group one, just to be honest with you, it is a little bit of a hater move to support someone up until the point that you feel threatened, and then you don't like their photos anymore, or you don't DM them or congratulate them or anything like that. There are people out there, and the more that people cannot ignore your success and your growth, the more you will slowly be uncovering who those individuals are, and it will be enlightening, okay? It will be an epiphany. We've had the Temperance card reversed, so in the Temperance card reversed, as well as the Ace of Pentacles that we received, which is a card that not only connects to your career and your finances. As you can see here, there's this coin which represents money. That's what a lot of people think immediately as they see the Ace of Pentacles, but I definitely also want to make it very clear here that the Suit of Pentacles is also a suit that has to do with earthly things such as your health as well as your time, okay, your finite resources. So I can see here in the Temperance card reversed, connecting to the Ace of Pentacles and the King of Cups, that this person is influencing you positively. And the Temperance card also shows me here that you're not going to drink very much. You're not going to be engaging in very many unhealthy habits. If you have struggled with some sort of addiction in the past, no matter what it is, whether it's coffee or heavier substances, know that in January you are far more motivated to do better for yourself and to treat your body with the love, respect, and adoration that it deserves to be treated with. And you're not making any exceptions or kind of ruining any progress or sobriety that you've had for the time beforehand. Okay, so January is going to be not necessarily smooth sailing, as I do see here worry and the Nine of Swords of some sort of relapse, but it is going to be successful and victorious when it comes to staying away from unhealthy habits and finding balance. The Lovers card reversed does also show me that your love life is in a place where not too much is happening in January. I have to be honest with you, group number one. There's a reason why I create all of my readings right before you. I don't prepare any piles of cards. I like for my videos to be as real-time and as authentic as possible, and that also includes telling you when things are not necessarily what everyone wants to hear. And the Lovers showing up reversed, I mean, if you are in a committed relationship or marriage, then just know that everything will be same old. But also, if you're in a tumultuous relationship, not much is going to change there, okay? It's still going to be difficult. You're still going to be working through differences, and maybe even thinking of leaving the person or thinking of exiting the relationship sooner rather than later. So the Lovers card reverse does show me here that the focus is not really that much on romantic love. It's more on connections that are rooted in friendship and platonic admiration. The Two of Swords here, group 1, shows me that you will have to make your decision based on your gut feeling. Nobody is going to be able to tell you anything that will help you decide. So you may talk to other people about what you're going through in friendships and relationships and ask them what they think, whether you should get rid of the person. And by get rid, I mean, cease contact, nothing morbid, group number 1, nothing like that. But yeah, you will be asking people about what you should do. And I do see here with the Two of Swords and the Moon showing up, which has already showed up once within your reading, that your intuition is really the only way forward. Nobody's going to give you a piece of information that you're satisfied by. Anyone who gives you advice during the month of January, you'll be thankful for it, but at the same time, you'll still not be sure if you really want to take anyone's advice, especially if those people haven't been in a similar situation as you've been in before. The 10 of Pentacles shows me here that January is going to be quite victorious for you, group number 1, when it comes to financial recuperation and recovery. Okay, so if December was kind of a month where you spent a lot of your earthly resources, you will recoup most of it in January. And I can see here that there is one thing that does kind of console you, then it's at least that your career is moving in the right direction, and that you start off January feeling as though it's just a dream or it's a very distant accomplishment to start your own business or recuperate some money that you're missing or you spent. But by the end of January, you will find that you have everything you need and more, so you will have some money left over. And group 1, not to tell you what to do, but definitely think about investing and saving rather than allowing yourself to spend more just because you have it available to you or you have money accessible to you. The 3 of Wands shows me here that there are some ideas in January that must be left behind. And we were literally just talking about this mindset of having more money available and therefore also spending more or treating yourself a little more. And it goes really quickly, right? When you have more than you need, you can very quickly say to yourself, well, I just want to have a little dinner outside of the house. I want to give myself just a little treat, just something that is a little bit more elevated. Maybe you purchase a name brand salt or little spice collection for yourself, or maybe you're buying fruit or vegetable that is organic, where otherwise you would choose fruit or vegetable that is the cheapest. And yeah, some things are definitely worth it when it comes to your health, like with organic produce. If you can, of course, invest in your health for longevity, but you have to leave this mindset behind of having more to spend and spending more just because, right? Because purchasing, for example, salt that is more expensive or olive oil, or spending more on clothes than you really need to just because you have a little bit more money, that equals lifestyle inflation, group number 1. And you want to beware not to do that, because you will not be able to save or invest in any assets that will bring you a return of what you put into it. So be very careful with how you spend your money, group number 1. It is so real for you during January that to whom much is given, much is expected. And you are the one to whom much is given, group number 1 in January. So rejoice in that. Be excited about that. But also remind yourself that educating yourself about investing and how you can create more assets in your life that give you revenue, those are aspects that need to be looked at during the month of January for you to make the smartest, most intelligent decisions, financially speaking. And if you're really interested in finances and your career for 2022 as a whole year, Do know that I have a full 2022 career and finances prediction on my channel as well if you feel like checking that out. But let's move a little further into your reading. We've got the carnelian next up. So in the carnelian, I can see that in January you're feeling very confident. So while you are feeling a little bit anxious, you have no doubt in your mind about you putting your best foot forward and trying as hard as you possibly could to be successful, which, as we figured out, will be victorious here. We had the 10 of Pentacles show up for you. So do know here that this self-confidence is really coming to your rescue, so to say. It is really that little bit of extra courage that you needed, because a lot of success has to do with self-confidence. If you're not confident in yourself and your ability to be successful, then how could someone else be confident in it? And that is also why a lot of people who are very cocky or very overly confident go very far in the work world. We have some people who have been able to climb the corporate ladder seemingly effortlessly with subpar skills or being pretty average, but just their confidence being right up there. And a lot of CEOs won't admit this, a lot of managers won't admit this, but a lot of people do promote others based on their confidence level, not necessarily their skill level. So you being very confident and also taking credit where credit is due is important. Don't skip over your credit just because you're trying to be humble. Sometimes too much humility can actually make you stay in a given space for longer than you should be. And then other people will be able to kind of take your position, right? So you may be up for the promotion, but if you're so humble that you allow for other people to kind of look over the work that you've put in, it will be hard for you to ever experience that raise or for you to ever move up. So like I already mentioned, take credit where credit is due. Next up, we've got the Malachite. Well, I've been holding the Malachite for a minute. The Malachite is all about your heart chakra and also in nature. So in January, what really opens up your heart chakra and realigns it is spending time in nature and with anything natural. Now, nature doesn't necessarily just always need to mean going into a green forest. I know a lot of you live in towns and cities where maybe there just isn't that much greenery that you can access. And maybe, quite frankly speaking, you also don't have that much time to spend in nature during the month of January. But there are other ways how you can connect to nature. You can cook meals that are very natural, where you use all whole foods ingredients. You can also connect to nature by just letting yourself feel and not judging, and letting yourself act and make noises, movements, and sounds without feeling like you're weird or without judging yourself for how things may come out. For example, when I'm doing my yoga practice or I'm meditating and I'm being told to breathe in and breathe out and sigh it out, right? I allow myself to truly sigh, to make a noise, and that actually really calms your nervous system, calms your parasympathetic nervous system, because your body can feel that it's releasing this natural sound and these energies that it naturally wants to let go of. And if you're always kind of trying to be all poised and prim and proper 24 hours of the day, then that can build a lot of tension within you. Hence, again, maybe why the Amazonite was the crystal that you intuitively chose, because you needed someone to tell you to chill out. You needed someone to tell you it's okay to sometimes scream at the top of your lungs if you can, right? If you're not going to alarm anyone, or to dance in a very silly way, especially if you're alone, you know, moan, groan, dance, have fun, move your body, shake your booty, do all of those things that you would usually find too embarrassing or cringy to do in front of other people. If it feels good, that's all that matters. And if nobody else can see it, then literally you just benefit from it without the embarrassment group number one. So know that that's what you're being called to do. The tiger's eye shows me here that animals connect with you beautifully in January, so I wouldn't be surprised if you added another or a animal family member to your little family, to your little tribe. I do want you to know here in the tiger's eye that this is a crystal that connects to your solar plexus chakra, and spending time with animals as well as being in nature as well, that is like a double whammy, a double winner for you, group number 1. So if you can, do that, but if it's not accessible to you, there are other ways that you can connect with nature as well and embody it, just like being your natural self, as we spoke about, and letting yourself feel and sound and smell, for example, however you naturally smell. You know, if you want to work out and not immediately go for a shower and just sit there and figure out what it's like to be a human that is 100% natural. So if you're working every single day of the week and every morning you get up and you shower or you do your hair or whatever it is that you do because you feel like you need to, because otherwise your natural odors or your natural look is uninviting or it's not socially acceptable, spend a weekend in January just letting yourself be free. Don't do any of those things, not because you're not taking care of yourself, but just because you're giving yourself a break from making yourself presentable, and instead do whatever you feel inclined to do and what feels like it means that you're caring for yourself. Okay, so if brushing your hair feels like you're caring for yourself, do that. But if putting your hair into a hairstyle feels like you're just doing it for other people, spend as much time as naturally as you can whenever life permits. So then just leave your hair to be open, to be wild, and to be embraced in its natural form in a way that you feel connected to who you are without manipulating your appearance or any of your natural self. Next up, we've got the aquamarine. So the aquamarine does show me here that your throat chakra may feel a little tight in January, and this is because you've got to speak up, group number 1. And speaking up and self-confidence, it kind of goes hand in hand, but sometimes it can feel really hard to do depending on who is before you. And I do see here in the Queen of Swords that if you have family members that are very negative or just kind of always focused on what is not going to work and who don't really believe in things changing in this world or big dreams being able to come to fruition, then it may take a lot of courage for you to step up to them and tell them to keep their opinions about your success or what you're capable of to themselves, and to not allow for them to project onto you whenever they feel like it or whenever they are feeling like they're in a slump and they need a punching bag or someone to bully, because some people are going through that phase, and it's not to judge them or to say that they are just overall bad people. But when people go through those phases, they don't understand how much it hurts to be on the receiving end. And that is where I can see here in the carnelian and the aquamarine that you are being encouraged during the month of January to be confident to speak up, no matter who's before you, whether it is a parent, a sibling, or a coworker or a boss. They deserve to be put in their place if they are belittling you or kind of making you feel more anxious or nervous than necessary, especially when they have that little smirk on their face and you can tell that they know that they're doing that. Set those boundaries, make them clear, establish them, and you can reinforce those boundaries. You do not have to let anyone go past your boundaries, group number 1. If someone chooses to try to do that, simply disengage, and that is you setting your boundary as well. A boundary is actually there to benefit everyone in the relationship because it actually shows what you're comfortable with. And if someone deliberately wants to cross that line of comfort, they deliberately want to hurt you and make you uncomfortable. So if they're not happy staying within the lines of boundaries, then that means that they're not happy making you feel comfortable, making you feel heard, making you feel as though your wants and needs are valid. And when someone constantly tries to push your boundaries, that's when you really need to watch out about how long and how closely you're keeping that person in your life, because it's questionable, isn't it, right? Why wouldn't anyone want to keep a boundary intact? Because it's actually a really good thing. In nostalgia, I can see here that during January, you're very focused on the month itself. You're not really planning too far ahead. Once you get started, once you're kind of like within the first week of January, the first couple days have passed and you're getting used to when you write the number 22 on dates and stuff like that. I do want you to know that you will very quickly find yourself super comfortable being in the moment in January and focusing on what's happening right then and there. The storm shows me here that it will definitely feel as though there's finally some sort of hurricane that's coming to an end in January. It's almost as though January starts out like a bit of a whirlwind and a bit of a uncertain situation where you have some fears, some high expectations for yourself, but then stability kicks in again. The storm also connects to the number 44, and the number 4 is a number of stability. This showing up as kind of like a double 4 as a master number does show me here that an immense sense of stability will kick in for you towards the end of January, and this is definitely a very welcome change, especially if you've never had much stability in your life. Feeling like you're creating more and more of it is definitely something that will keep your spirits high. I can see here within the villain that rather than allowing for another person to vilify you for setting your boundaries, you are actually keeping your story that you have of yourself intact, and you're not letting any of their narrative get near you whatsoever. So maybe growing up, people told you things about yourself that stuck with you for a very long time. They've maybe even still stuck with you till this day. Like you're not smart enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not skinny enough, or you're not big enough, you're not small enough. I mean, the list is endless, right? If you're not skinny enough, then you're too big. But if you're skinny, then you're not big enough. And if you're tall, then you're not petite enough. But if you're petite, then it's like, why aren't you as tall as like a supermodel? And those are the types of things that I'm so happy that we're starting to break within this community, because I strongly and firmly believe that all of my beautiful unicorn family members, you are not going to continue to perpetuate that to your children or future generations or anyone who you come in contact with. And you're so much more responsible with your words, and understanding here that that can have a long-term effect. And because you have been faced with adversity like that growing up, and just overall as you were developing, you don't want to put that same energy and that same narrative onto another person. And someone kind of telling you that you're a villain for setting boundaries, it's almost like a deja vu. It's almost brings up these memories for you of when you were a kid and you maybe also had boundaries, but those were simply not respected, or maybe because of cultural reasons, family members thought that they didn't have to respect boundaries, or children didn't deserve to have any boundaries, any privacy, any safe space. And that is where I can see here in the villain that you're completely breaking that narrative, or the way that that affected you, and that you're working through that in January. You're working through the fact that you have every right to set boundaries, and you were actually the victim when you weren't able to have any boundaries in your life that were respected. It doesn't just make you a kid that was too needy. It doesn't make you spoilt at the fact that you craved boundaries and didn't have them. It actually shows that your needs were not met, which is what parents should be doing. But sadly, especially when they're narcissistic ones, there are a lot of parents who don't get it, who don't understand it, and who do not want to understand it. But I do want you to know in the King of Wands that you have really fiery energy in January, hence also again why we have the Amazonite, because with all this fiery energy and you really having passion and courage for yourself and to stand up for yourself and to start the fresh calendar year on a completely new note, also try not to get overheated or to get too feisty, because then you're giving other people your personal power again, right? Because they can make you angry and they can kind of steer your emotions. So put heat where heat belongs and when it makes sense. So for example, putting someone on a bit of a hot seat, if you've expressed your boundaries and they make fun of them, they mock them, or they do not want to respect them, then put them on the hot seat and ask them, well, boundaries are actually good for this reason, right? Because it creates a relationship of trust and respect. So I'm not sure why you're making fun of that. I'm not sure what's so funny about that. Put someone on the hot seat in that type of way, in an elegant and eloquent way, how others cannot kind of refute and say, well, you're being really aggressive or you're being a little much. Don't you think you're taking it too seriously? No, okay, because that is gaslighting, and you're not even going to give them the avenue or the opportunity to do that to you, group number 1. Because in January, you are learning to play the game and you're playing it well. There's no one who's getting past you or going to be able to gaslight you in that sense. In the Knight of Pentacles, we have this card show up for the second time. We already had it show up right at the start of your reading from the Affirmations tarot deck, which you chose. The Knight of Pentacles does show me here that you're all about your grind and 0% about any type of drama, nor are you interested in anyone's drama, and you're staying away from that, and just overall you feel very inspired. So reading a book by someone who inspires you, an autobiography, or listening to a podcast, watching videos by people who inspire you, not people who you feel jealous of and not people who make you feel bad about where you are in life, but people who truly inspire you to do better. That's a big part of January for you. And in the Four of Swords, last but not least, I can see here that January is going to be a time where you're just growing your knowledge and your database of ways how you can be better when it comes to your career, your professional life, your health. And anyone who's thinking of making fun of that or who's trying to tell you that you're boring or not fun or anything like that, I can see that not paying them any mind to them, especially if they're just jabbing you in a way how they're trying to get a reaction. You're not going to give them the reaction. I can see here in the King of Wands that you have learned from the past where someone pushed you to react and then you did, and then they could gaslight the whole situation and everyone around it and manipulate it into you being sensitive or you being super aggressive or just super intense. You're not doing that. The King of Wands shows me here that you're choosing very selectively when you use your fire, your force, and you put someone in the hot seat, and when you refrain from doing that because it's not going to end up helping the situation anyway. So you're picking and choosing your battles very wisely, and you also value and respect your time so much. You would rather be the bigger person than give someone the time of day that actually takes time away from you working on your business or learning or growing as a person. So group 1, this is your super detailed January 2022 prediction. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. If you made it to the end of this reading, leave a little crescent moon emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know. I hope that you like this really fun, detailed approach to a reading. Thank you so much for being here and for spending this divine time and space with me. Know that I'm sending you so much love, and I'll catch you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Howlite as well as the Tarot in Wonderland deck. Let's first do a close-up of the stone of your choice. This is the beautiful Howlite. It has this very marble-esque white marble type of look, and the Howlite is actually a crystal that helps you generate more clarity, that helps you bring your personal wisdom forth, and that allows you to use your mind very wisely, which is maybe exactly what you need right now. Let's do a little mini deck review while we're at it. This is the Tarot in Wonderland box that it comes in. It comes with a big guidebook with which you can learn and get to know the cards. Oh, let's get it out. Here we go. This is the Tarot in Wonderland guidebook. Why I'm showing you this is because I really do truly love this deck, and a lot of you collect decks and you would like some tips on what types of decks to get. This is a really beautiful one, especially if you love the whole Alice in Wonderland thing. One thing that I will say though is that the cards are a little bit more on the flimsier side than I'd like, but nevertheless the depictions are really beautiful, and this deck is one that generates so much clarity and wisdom for me from source, the divine, the universe, spirit. You get it. So we've got the Ten of Swords as well as the Page of Wands. So group number 2 in the Ten of Swords, I can see here that January is going to be a month where you're just over it, okay? You're still over it. You're not going to be okay with this Page of Wands behavior. Now, the Page of Wands is someone who has very kind of naive, young energy. They're not really quite sure of what to do next in their life, and sometimes they make really, how should I say, for lack of better words, just really stupid decisions, okay? And the Page of Wands is someone who has fire sign energy. Think a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. You may have a coworker, a boss, or a family member who has just really annoyed you or just really continues to push your buttons. And in the Ten of Swords, I can see that you're still over it. Nothing's going to change about that in January. And just overall, you don't like childish energy. You don't like energy that just shows that people are not spending an appropriate time in reflection that they really should, or that they're kind of just saying something to garner attention. I do see here that in the Ten of Swords as well as the Page of Wands that you like people to be fun and bubbly, but again, not to be reckless or to just run their mouths however they feel like it. I can see here within the Sun that January is actually a very positive and prosperous month for you. The Sun is one of the most favorable cards within the tarot deck, and it shows you having a great time with the people who you love and care about, and them nurturing you and giving you a safe space to vent, to live in, to be in, to exist in. So group number 2, while we did have your reading start off with you just still being over this person that you're maybe actually thinking about right now as you're receiving the reading, and you may have thought to yourself, is anything going to change with that relationship? No, group number 1, but it's not going to take away from the fact that you're having a great time with everyone who does matter and who does seem to have the emotional intelligence to understand that apologizing is something that is necessary in certain relationships, and sometimes taking a step back can really help or aid the health of a connection. The Page of Swords here shows me a new beginning coming for you, which makes a lot of sense here with the Ten of Swords, a new relationship and connection that you have with someone, and communication is going to be a lot easier moving forward with that person. I can see that you're going to replace anyone who seems to always purposely misinterpret what it is that you're saying. You're going to be replacing that type of energy and that type of person with new people where you feel safe and who you feel don't take everything that you say so personally and twist it into something that it really isn't. So January is for you a lot about optimizing how you feel around people, and also just kind of reflecting on how you feel about people after you've spent time with them. So when you go home after meeting someone, after being in a meeting or at work, you're reflecting and really asking yourself, who did I feel good around and whose conversation kind of made me feel drained? And you're taking kind of cuts in your life very seriously, and you're spending a lot of time in reflection. I can see growth, maturity, and emotional stability in the Knight of Cups. And yes, of course, it's going to make you a little bit angry or sad when you start to realize that certain people maybe just are not on the energetic frequency that you vibe with or you want to be around. But at the same time, these truths are important in order for you to optimize who you spend your time around, because group 2, you truly are the average of the 5 people who you spend the most time with. So make sure that you choose those people very wisely. The hematite shows me here that January will ask of some mental strength for you. And because you're learning lots of new things, this makes a lot of sense. Group 2, if you've ever started learning something new, like for example, an instrument or just overall things in life, such as reading, writing, speaking, at the beginning, it's really hard. And a lot of us don't remember how hard it was to learn to speak or write or read. Some of us do, but a lot of us also do not. And it takes a lot of mental strength to persist, to prevail, to continue to remain disciplined until those things become easily and they flow really easily. But first, it's almost like there's a lot of resistance there. It's like you need a lot of strength to push yourself through, especially when you're not good at something to begin with. And as an adult, I feel like there's so much less acceptance or so many less role models of starting off with something and just being really bad at it, and it simply taking time and discipline and effort to get to a place where it flows and you're good at it. There aren't many adults who do things like learn new instruments or languages or anything that basically exposes you as being a beginner. So if you are one of those people who is brave enough to have done that, who's brave enough to have started something new and not been afraid to be bad at it to begin with, then that shows a lot of mental strength and you really should be proud of yourself. And if you're thinking of starting an additional new thing that you undoubtedly will not be good at to begin with, for example, an instrument, yeah, there are a lot of people with talent, but fact of the matter is when you're just starting out, you're not going to be great at it. Know that if this is something that you're doing in January, this proves a lot of mental strength as well as maturity and self-confidence, because not everybody even has the self-confidence to expose themselves in that way. And I say expose because it seems like in society, when you have your set of skills and abilities as an adult, you're kind of expected to just stick with those. So exposing that you have strengths that are maybe yet to be discovered is definitely something that just shows that you're on a very different type of wavelength than a lot of people or a lot of society. In the fluorite, I can see here that your spirit guides will be communicating with you. You may see your spirit guides in the form of some sort of animal. Okay, it could be a reptile, a gecko type animal, it could be a hare, it could be a rabbit. I definitely want you to know here within the fluorite and your spirit guides showing up that we also have a horse present, by the way. I forgot to mention that, but what I was trying to get at here with the fluorite is that your third eye chakra is activated during the month of January, and you will find it really easy to connect with source, to communicate with spirit guides, and also to get to know new ones. I see that in the Page of Wands and the Page of Swords. You've never seen them before. Getting to know completely new spirit guides that you didn't hear of or know of before that are present for you. And I can definitely see that that contributes to you feeling really held and as though you have people who are supporting you. In the Angelite, I can see here that those spirit guides may also take on the shape of angels. Not everyone feels as though angels exist, but I can definitely see here that January is a month that will prove to you that there are such things as angels, sometimes even angels in the form of other human beings. For example, if you've ever had someone give you a tip or insight or a word of wisdom that changed your entire life or changed a big decision of yours for the better, and you wanted to thank them, but all of a sudden you couldn't find them anymore, get in contact with them, or they disappeared. And these are often strangers whose faces we just simply can never forget from then on moving forward, but somehow we never see them again. And it just gives us this feeling that they were an angel sent to guide us into the right direction. And angels showing up in human form is often a sign that connecting with the unseen is something that you can focus on a little bit more, because that's sometimes like the universe's last resort, to send another human being into your life to give you a specific message, because maybe you've just been so blinded by other things that you weren't able to properly process a situation and listen to your intuition. So think, for example, you wanting to purchase something that is really expensive or out of your budget, and intuitively you know that maybe it's not for you, but your ego really wants it because it will make you look better in society. It will make others respect you more. But then in the last moment, as you're maybe at the car dealership or you're with the real estate agent, you have someone show up that just tells you about this other way of life, that tells you that you really don't need that gives you a compliment just for who you are. And all of a sudden, in the last moment, you back out of purchasing something that was way over budget because you came to realize, hey, like, people really respect, love, adore, and appreciate me, even strangers, angels, so to say, without me owning these things, or without me having to put in so much effort just to prove my value or my status around other people. And that then changes your mind, and then you maybe do not make a business move or a personal move with your finances that could have affected you negatively for a very long time. So it can feel like there was an angel there protecting you from putting all of your resources into a basket that really wasn't necessary and that ultimately wouldn't have served you. I can see here within Judgment that January is a month in which being hard on yourself comes in all types of shapes, forms, and sizes. And by being hard on yourself coming in every shape, form, and size, I mean here with the hematite that you've been strong for so long, group number 2, that you sometimes can't help but look at all of your little faults or just only see the things that you could be doing better, that you only see the things where there is room for improvement. Like, for example, eating more healthily, working out more, doing better at your workplace, staying up for longer, working, waking up earlier, spending more and more time caring for other people's needs rather than your own. So do be really careful here that you don't mix up mental strength with mental exhaustion, because that's one thing that I see you run risk of also in the 10 of Swords as well as the hematite, because being strong also means to be strong enough to stand up for yourself and say when you need a break and when you need a timeout and when you simply just want to spend time doing the things that you like and not working and not overextending yourself for anything. So that is where it's so important for you to remind yourself that being strong and being a hard worker isn't just about working as long as you possibly can. It's also about knowing that you need breaks too, to refuel, to recharge, and to allow for your not only wisdom, but for your ideas to be able to process and to come to fruition in that way. Because if you've ever learned a lot in a very short period of time, I see that here in the Nine of Pentacles, you need to give it a little bit of time to just process and sink into your brain. So learning, for example, or studying not long before a test, like say the night before or the week before, even though you've had months, it's a bad idea, because you will find that even months after you've taken the exam, if you procrastinated studying till the last moment, you will find that the knowledge really settles in a lot later than when you actually needed it, right? Which was for the exam. So it's important for you to know here in the Nine of Pentacles to sometimes just give things time to process, for your brain to make those connections and to truly understand it in a deep way, not just a surface level kind of lesson being the outcome. In the Empress, I can see here that your beauty is something that concerns you, your external beauty, and judgment and also needing validation. Those are big things that I can see bothering you in January and you trying to kind of cut the cord with. The Empress as well as the Judgment card shows me that you might start to consider some sort of surgery or some sort of alteration for yourself physically. It could also be something like dyeing your hair or going on a specific diet. And by diet, I don't always mean like losing weight. A lot of people struggle to gain weight as well. So in the Empress as well as the Judgment card, remind yourself here that we all go through different phases of insecurities and different phases of simply looking at something on our own bodies or in ourselves that we don't like. And a lot of this is also a reflection of the current beauty standard that society has. So for example, right now, or I think the beauty standard still is a very small waist and wide hips and a big bust. So if that is something that you don't have, which 99% of people don't have, if you identify as male, then your beauty standard is kind of always very similar, I guess, but also just as unattainable for a lot of people with just regular lives and jobs and an existence where you maybe don't have a personal trainer or a cook who helps you to stay on track with being really ripped or whatever the beauty standard is. So remind yourself here in the Empress as well as the Judgment card not to fall prey to those comparisons or those feelings of lack, of not fitting into this standard of beauty, because honestly, there is always a new standard that is unattainable or almost unattainable naturally, and you only have this one time, this one chance in this body that was given to you. So you might as well love the crap out of it, group number 2, for lack of better words. Because just imagine when you're really old, right? Just imagine yourself in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and you look back at your youth and you think to yourself, you spent it worrying about whether your body was good enough, or comparing your body to other people's physiques or what magazines or the internet showed. You will think that you really missed out, and that it was a silly thing to even spend a second of your youth or your prior time in life worrying. Because whether you feel youthful or not, fact of the matter is, group number 2, you will never be as young as you are right now again. Let that sink in. The clock is constantly ticking, and we are constantly getting older and older, and we're constantly finding more reasons why maybe we shouldn't do something fun or wear that crazy dress. So do know here within the Empress, Judgment, and the Nine of Pentacles that simply enjoying what you've been fortunate enough to have, for example, your physical body, is so essential and such an epiphany for you to kind of reflect on during the month of January. In the raindrops, I can see here that rainy weather, to be quite literal, is going to be guiding you in January, but maybe snow depending on where you live. But do also know here in the raindrops that this is a card that speaks of you taking a chance with someone, okay? Taking a chance on that person by trusting them, by giving them the benefit of the doubt. So if there is a romantic partner, or for example, a work colleague, someone who you are looking to employ or just be with in a close manner when it comes to making money, take a chance on them. You're most likely not going to be disappointed. And it also once again shows you that you can let your guard down and put those walls away to allow for people to have the chance and opportunity to get to know you and to work alongside you. I can see here within the storm, we have more kind of wet, stormy, humid weather for you. I wouldn't be surprised if where you live, January literally feels like rain season. In the storm, I can see here that things are going to clear up sooner rather than later for you. If you feel like life has been a little bit stormy or all over the place, know here in the Angelite that your angels are guiding you, and they're going to bring you to a place where you feel like storms that you've had to weather through are coming to an end, and you can finally kind of chill and be in a space of comfort again. Lavender shows me that surrounding yourself with love, despite the energy or time or effort that it takes to go meet up with friends or family, is important in January. So if you spent a lot of time with friends and family during the month of December, or you tried to make a lot of time, continue with that momentum during January, as it really does serve you on a mental level. And as I can see here in the Empress, that they're going to talk you out of altering anything about your appearance that really doesn't need to be altered. Because also do keep in mind in the Empress that there are many times that people alter something because it is the current beauty standard, and then a couple of years later they wish that they would have never done that. So try to not be that person, because one thing you will most likely never regret is just being your natural and authentic self. I can see here within the Lioness that you've absolutely earned all of your stripes, and that goes so beautifully with what we just spoke about, and loving your natural self, whether that comes with stretch marks, whether that comes with cellulite, with rolls, with any type of imperfections on your skin or beneath your skin. The Lioness shows me here that once you truly start to learn that all of these marks or all of these scars are actually just symbols of what you've been through and what you've been able to overcome, and basically your body, every cell in your body, making sure that you stay alive, that you thrive, that you're healthy. It's actually something to be proud of. I mean, stretch marks, they literally show growth. Either growth from, for example, when you were a teenager, if that's when you had stretch marks show up for you first, or maybe from literally growing another human being in your body. If you've ever had a kid and you have additional stretch marks from that, it is literally a symbol of growth and strength and what your body is capable of. So be proud of that and know that it's just a beauty standard that has been ingrained in us to think that something is wrong with, for example, stretch marks or cellulite, when there's nothing wrong with it at all. And there's no point in you overthinking it because, for example, something that I don't deal with is cellulite because I've just never had it. And I think it's something very natural for people to have. And I personally would never even notice another person's cellulite or look at cellulite and think to myself, oh, that is unattractive or that is not pretty. And I have never understood what the big deal is because it does not affect your life negatively whatsoever. And I actually think having a little bit of texture makes you look so much more real. And stretch marks, for example, definitely do remind me of a tiger's stripes, and it definitely is also a symbol, as already mentioned, of strength and what you're able to endure. Next up, we have this little message from the universe, which reads that in any moment, I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness. I hope that prayer is not a triggering word to you. You can just swap that out for meditation because, as you know, my channel is all about spirituality and the divine. So I do want you to know here that this message speaks of you being able to, at any given moment, just tune into the portal that is love, the portal that you are, that encompasses love, and that you can do so through contemplation, stillness, meditation, and just taking time away from overthinking. We just spoke about the lioness, how you could be overthinking some parts of your bodies, some things that you see as imperfections, but try to surrender to the powerful presence of love. That will keep you away from doubting the love that you have for yourself or for giving that any time of the day, because any types of overthinking about what your body looks like is really not worth your time. I can see here in my outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition, that it's so essential for you to focus more on nourishing, to focus more on the health side of things, because if you feel really unattractive on the inside, then your external appearance will be just that. It won't be attractive to you. It won't feel good. If you don't feel as though you are deserving on the inside, then anything that you experience in life is going to have a bit of a veil, is going to have a bit more of a dull look to it, a very dull feel to it. So do know here that everything you experience is a reflection of your internal state, because that is how you judge your experiences. That is how you even make your mind up about what an experience was like. If you, for example, have had a traumatic experience with dogs in the past, of how you perceive dogs or other very similar animals that feel similar to you is going to be maybe more fearful and more negative and very apprehensive. But if you've had a very positive experience with dogs, then whenever you see a dog, you're like, oh my God, I'd love to pet it. I'd love to be near it. So do know here that your outer experience is definitely a reflection of your past and what you've been through, but you can also overcome certain experiences that were unique to you, that were maybe a bit negative or a bit scarring. For example, as a kid, I was bit by this little dachshund called Hippo, you know, the little wiener dog, the little sausage dog, and Hippo bit me in my hand, and I was so afraid of all of the other dogs moving forward, but slowly but surely, I worked on overcoming that fear, and now I am a dog owner myself, a dog mom. So there are experiences that can be traumatic that you've maybe gone through as a kid that can be worked on later in life. Of course, not every single experience can be swapped out for a more positive one, but a lot of them can. And just working on the ones where you can start afresh, that is what I can see really serves you here for January and will bring a whole fresh perspective into your life. The Ace of Pentacles stands for just that. The Ace of Pentacles is a symbol of fresh new habits and thoughts and ways of experiencing life. The Ace of Pentacles also shows me here that if you have been unsuccessful in a business venture or at getting a job in the past, not to let that get you down, and to understand here that in January, spending time with a support system like we have here in Lavender, as well as the Sun, is the best way to pick yourself up and regain your confidence. Here we have the Strength card show up for you, which we spoke about a lot within the Hematite crystal, but the Strength card showing up in itself in the form of this tiger is a node to what we spoke about in the Lioness as well, and how the tiger's stripes is very similar to, for example, stretch marks, and it shows strength and what you've been through. It is a symbol of what your body is capable of enduring and how your body is capable of change without breaking down or becoming unusable. Literally, the only things that you can see from all of the growth that you've been through are stretch marks. There's nothing else, right? There's no impairment. It's literally only a physical trait when you see stretch marks. So do know here within the Strength card that this shows that you have the strength in January to overcome any types of overthinking about this, especially if you were planning on going to a spa or to a beach, or you're planning on wearing something a bit more revealing and you're worried about what other people will think about your body. Know here within the Strength card that the most beautiful thing that you can do is to embrace it in whichever state that it's in, and to be proud of it, and to ensure that you don't let anyone make you feel or think otherwise, because after all, you have so much to be proud of. Your body works so hard every single day to keep you alive, and has kept you alive up until this point, group number 2. And that is one thing to celebrate it for, and to not judge it, not continue to overthink it. As I can see here within the Devil, that staying away from media that puts those ideas into your head is a great way for you to detox in January, and much needed. You did choose the Howlite as your crystal, group 1, which shows here that you simply need some clarity, and the best way for you to gain clarity about what beauty really is to stay away from mainstream media, or to redo your feeds on Instagram. I definitely notice, for example, that my feed still has a lot of beauty standards that I don't really vibe with anymore, because that's who I was maybe 5 years ago or so. And that's what was important to me a few years ago, to maybe fit a more conventional beauty standard. But now so much has changed internally and externally for me, that I know here in the Devil that I am definitely being tested on a daily basis with seeing photos and reminders of these things that I once used to value or consider beautiful. But it is in the end up to me and my internal strength to not focus on those things, not give them the time of day, and spend time looking at other posts and clicking other things, and therefore teaching the algorithm to change to my new standard of life. And why I'm not saying standard of beauty is because to me, there is no standard of beauty. Well, there are standards of beauty, but there is no judgment here. I can see someone and appreciate their beauty for whatever their idea of beauty may be. I don't have to project my idea of beauty onto them and then rate them based on whether they fit that idea of beauty or not. So I can definitely see here within the Devil that yes, you have to kind of work on it yourself, which is a bit annoying, which is a little bit shitty that the world does this, where we have to look out for ourselves to not be confronted by unhealthy body image. But do know here within the Temperance card that you have the strength within you to do it, that you are capable of changing and recreating your own standard of what beauty is for yourself, and to not allow any types of other images to affect you negatively moving forward, or make you feel like anything needs to change about who you are physically. And quite frankly speaking, a physical change is often also a quick fix. It's a lot easier than working on truly loving yourself, which is why I also think a lot of people move forward with external, say, procedures, with maybe surgeries or any other things like injectables, because it's just so much simpler to do that and be happy with the result than to actually work on loving what you already have. But the Temperance card is actually a symbol of telling you to watch out when it comes to that, to be really careful, because the long-term repercussions and the long-term downsides that often come with just simply doing a procedure can be devastating and a lot harder to handle, and you may be very regretful if you go and do something in an impulsive way, or you go and do something that is a budget version. If you don't have the resources to spend on a doctor that is actually certified, then you may end up with long-term health issues and long-term problems that you wish you would have never caved to, where you wish you would have simply just loved yourself rather than try to change something or fix something that wasn't broken. Group 2, you're not broken, you are whole. You simply need to start to notice and see that, and to embrace yourself during any season of your life, whether you feel like the texture on your skin isn't beautiful, or you feel like you're too big or you're too skinny. It's so important for you here in January to be strong and remind yourself that there are ups and there are downs, and there will be times where you're simply not happy with your appearance, or you're simply not happy with your progress, and that's okay. But don't go and do something drastic that you will later regret, that isn't easily reversible, or that you cannot change in the long run. If you haven't wanted to get something done or to change something about yourself for longer than, say, 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I would definitely say like at least 3, 4, 5 years, because that is how long it takes for beauty standards to shift, for us to mature, sometimes even longer. So if you haven't wanted to change something about yourself for at least like 5 years, then don't do something invasive that is potentially life-threatening, because you may just end up regretting it, or ending up in a situation where you know that it wasn't necessary and that you could have left your body without putting it through trauma. If only you would have given yourself more time to accept who you are and to do that internal work. So group number 2, this is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section if you made it all the way to the end by leaving a little rabbit emoji in the comment section for me and others to see. Thank you for spending this divine time and space with me. I hope that you feel prepared for January and any thoughts that may arise, anything that you may end up going through. And I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your January 2022 prediction. You chose the Divine Feather Messenger deck, as well as the red Jasper crystal. This is the beautiful red Jasper that you chose. It is a very powerful stone that helps not only bring motivation, but also energy and passion into your life. So let's figure out who this feather belongs to. You maybe already have an idea of who it is. We've got the peacock. So I can definitely see here in the peacock that inherent wisdom is emerging during the month of January, and you can watch it and ready yourself for a rebirth and be unapologetic about who you are and embracing all of the things that make you uniquely you. Just as the peacock isn't afraid to spread its feathers, if you will, to show off its beautiful feathers, don't be afraid to show off everything that makes you who you are and that makes you unique, and actually see it as a strength and as something that makes you attractive, just as the male peacock does. We've got the heron next up. So in the heron, I can see here that letting go of convention and following your own unique path is a new way for you during the month of January. You're not allowing for the media or for other people to influence what you're doing with your life. You're all about letting go of conventionality and simply being unconventional and even eclectic moving into the new calendar year. So do understand here that the heron as well as the peacock are both symbols and representatives of being unafraid to stand tall in yourself, your convictions, who you are, and to be proud of the person that you've become and the person who you're still becoming as we change every single day. I can see here within the Three of Pentacles that you are going to be spending time with other people who are very unconventional as well and who aren't afraid to live their best lives. Group number 3. You're spending time with those people because they not only accept you, but they also understand what you're going through and maybe the initial fears of what it's like to be different. I can also see here in letting go of convention and following your own unique path that we spoke about in the Heron as well as the Three of Pentacles, that in your work life, in your career, you are asking other people for their opinion on a project, but ultimately it's important for you to believe in your project and for you to also know that a lot of different things that people have claimed would never be successful ended up changing the world. And you believing in your project is the most important thing. You don't need other people to approve of your creative skills or of the things that you are developing or you are doing, as I can see here in the Seven of Swords, that a lot of them are actually low-key kind of jealous. So a lot of people would never admit that they love your idea or what you're creating or doing because, again, they're low-key jealous. They are in a place where they feel envious about your creativity and all of the fun ideas that you bring to the table, and they're maybe also envious of the fact that you are courageous enough to put yourself out there. Whether that's you making music or having a business idea and talking to people who should actually be supporting you, but you don't quite feel the love or the support, it's actually rooted in their own insecurities, and they may go on to all of a sudden try their own thing as well, and it's inspired by you, but they would never admit it, and they didn't give you the support that you maybe looked for or craved at the moment where you were talking about your project, and you will just kind of be side-eyeing that. Group 3 during the month of January, but you're here receiving this reading for a reason, so don't count on others to validate your ideas to know that they're worth pursuing. Just think of, for example, like the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I mean, she was rejected countless amounts of times before she went on to find a way to make it a reality, to publish the books, and they have changed society and the world, and they have had a huge impact on people's lives growing up in the past decades. So know here in the Lovers that extending that love to your ideas and yourself that you would extend to someone who you care about is what you deserve and need to do for yourself in January. Okay, no more excuses, group number 3, no more reasons why, not following through on making your dreams a reality is the safer or better option to go through. It is not, group 3. It's important for you to live those dreams, to try to make them a reality, and to not look for reasons why it's too risky or why it can't work. Because if you're already kind of priming yourself to look for reasons why it won't work subconsciously, then you will find those reasons. That is filled with the evidence of why it was good to not follow a dream of yours. But on the other hand, your life also consists of everything that you're grateful for, and it is a reflection of your internal state. So if you believe that you can make things happen and make it big, either in literature or music or any other type of industry that you crave to enter, group number 3, then your chances are high that you're going to get to where you ultimately want to be. And I do see here in the World, which is actually one of the best cards you can receive in a tarot deck, that success is assured in January. January is going to give you a little taster of what it's like to believe in yourself and follow through with your ideas, to be unafraid, and then to reap the rewards and the benefits. So set your next goal or your next target on a bit of a smaller scale. So it should be a goal that you can accomplish in January. It could be a financial goal. It could be the goal of creating your own little mini story that you're writing, or your own business, you know, just getting started on something you've always wanted to, and see how it will be successful starting it in January, group number 3, and see how that will give you confidence to set that next little goal, maybe for the next month or across the next 3 months, and then moving on to setting a big goal for the year, and just taking these little baby steps and being successful in them, and that all boiling down to your mindset and not allowing for other people to make you feel insecure or to project their insecurities onto you. That will have you being and feeling really successful moving forward. The Hanged Man does show me here that the people who you find to not be as supportive as you would like them to be about the ideas that you're bringing to the table in January are actually people who have been complacent for a very, very long time. And it makes sense why they would think literally doing anything out of the ordinary is too big of a risk. So whenever someone is giving you feedback that is just trying to prove to you why your ideas won't work or why you're maybe taking too big of a risk, look at their life and what they have accomplished and ask yourself if that is a role model to you and if that is the type of accomplishment that you want in your life. And if the person giving you advice has not really accomplished the types of things that you're looking to accomplish, then it's most likely safe to say that their advice is maybe not advice that you want to implement into your life. Take advice from people who you look up to, and take advice from people who are already where you want to go or have already surpassed where you're trying to go, is what I was trying to say, group number 3. Next up, we've got the 10 of Cups. So the 10 of Cups is a very positive sign and symbol for your love life and your relationships. So if you are in a committed relationship, January is going to be a really lovey-dovey time. It's going to be a time where your physical intimacy is also blossoming and flourishing, as well as emotional intimacy. And if you are single, then know here that January is a month in which you are most likely going to meet someone who you will feel very infatuated by and with whom you're going to spend a lot of really cute private moments that you can look back on and think to yourself, this was amazing. Next up, we have the Lovers card again. We've had the Lovers card show up twice in 2 different tarot decks for you, a group 3. We had the Lovers here with the Rider-Waite deck, and also here with the Tarot in Wonderland deck. The Lovers showing up twice definitely shows me also that romantic love is being drawn into your life in January, so get ready for that, group number 3, and be open to it, as I can see here that a twin flame and a very serious lover with whom you can go on to get married, start a family, purchase a home, and build a business with is not out of the ordinary to arise for you in January. Okay, so do get ready here for life-changing news when it comes to relationships and love, and also get ready for a solidification of relationships of yours that you feel are real, and relationships with people who are a little bit overly critical about your dreams and aspirations, those kind of like crumbling and being just kept to the side a little bit. The King of Swords shows me here that the person coming into your life, romantically speaking, has a lot of air sign type of energy. So think Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra energy. They are very intelligent. Okay, so they've most likely also gotten a really great degree and gone really far when it comes to their academic studies and academic accomplishments. And the King of Swords can sometimes also be a little bit misunderstood as being pompous or being a little bit arrogant, but the King of Swords is actually just more on the quiet side and likes to impress with facts, not with just assumptions or feelings. I can see within these 6 of Wands that January is also going to be a month where it's not surprising for you to be butting heads with someone, say at your workplace or a boss, for example, who just wants to give off the impression of them knowing everything better, or of them being this kind of really mature person who has already been through it all. I can see here in these 6 of Wands that you're not here here for it, and that you have other ideas that you know are worthy of being heard out, and you're going to make sure that the world gets to hear your ideas as well. Next, we've got the Two of Cups, which showed up for you, and the Two of Cups with the Lovers card showing up twice. Group number 3, romantic love and finding your forever partner and a soulmate. Just solidifying a romantic relationship is what's happening in January. So a proposal, getting married spontaneously, meeting your twin flame, and feeling like you're on top of the world with them is something that I can see for you. We've got the World, the Lovers twice, the Ten of Cups. I mean, your romantic life is really flourishing, group number 3, in January. It's probably the best month of the year that you could have, romantically speaking, and it shows here that you're just in a place of happiness, of feeling so understood, feeling so connected to another person, and feeling like you've never been this satisfied or happy in your life before. The Five of Cups here shows me that, on the other hand, there will be some people who crave more of your attention because you're spending a lot of it with one specific human being. So the Five of Cups, as well as the Lovers card here, does show me that some people will wish that you spent more time with them, and some people are going to feel a little bit jealous about what's going on for you in your romantic life during the month of January. But the Seven of Pentacles shows me that you're not going to notice that. You are also spending a lot of time just figuring out whether all of the work that you put in 2021 was actually worth it or not, and then planning for 2022. So for example, if you put a lot of work into your own project, into your own business, or just overall a work project that took the entire 2021 for you to look back on and evaluate whether it was worth your time and your energy, whether you actually made any progress, that will then inspire you to plan 2022 the way you end up planning it. So either working on a similar project again, or attempting to create a type of work routine that is completely different than you did in 2021, but that you hope will be healthier and will end up with you taking the type of strides forward that you wanted to in 2021 but maybe failed to do. So you're just readjusting the template for 2022, so to say, so that everything will be smooth sailing, as I do see here in the Six of Swords, that you crave nothing more than balance. You crave nothing more than, the same number of different things on either side, so that it's not like you're spending way too much time being in love and way too little time in your career. You want everything to be balanced appropriately so that there are no feelings of not doing enough. There are no feelings of guilt because maybe you are, for example, a Libra or an air sign who just craves feeling mentally like everything is intact, all your ducks are sitting in a row, and you can simply relax and lean back and enjoy everything that's working out in its favor for you, and that you can go with a routine and a flow. Next up, we've got the King of Wands. So in the King of Wands, I do want you to understand here that January is a month where you will feel really confident because your love life is in such a great place. So feeling really confident can sometimes also develop into a bit of cockiness. That's what I see here in the King of Wands. So it's important for you to lead other people with your confidence in your workplace, but also to inform yourself, to do research before you start taking on leadership roles, and also to bring other people's ideas into the mixture and to consider their ideas even if you think that you already know it all. As I can see here in the Ten of Pentacles, that while you know a great deal, by being a good leader, you may actually access a lot more financial benefits and freedom. That's what I see here in the Ten of Pentacles. If you have really big goals for yourself, financially speaking, understand that those really big goals are most likely only going to be met with a team of people. And if that makes you nervous, if you're someone who likes to work alone, know that that is most likely just a lesson that you really need to learn, because I found that the more uncomfortable something makes me, or the more I don't want want to do something, whether it's, for example, a yoga pose or something that I really don't want to confront in my own business, then that is usually what I need the most and where I can learn and grow the most. And it's just a completely natural reaction of your body and your subconscious to not want to do it because, yeah, it's something new. It's something that can immediately seem like, oh, this could be potentially dangerous because I don't know what I'm doing, but know that in the unknown is where you're able to actually grow the most. Next up, we've got the Five of Wands. So in the Five of Wands, the person who I was talking about earlier who feels kind of neglected or wishes they could spend more time with you. I see that in the Three of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, and the Five of Wands. They're going to speak up and they're maybe going to have a bit of an accusatory tone towards you, and they are definitely butthurt. Their feelings are definitely in a place where they may tell you that it seems like you don't care about them, or it seems like you are just not committed to the relationship with them. And that's where it's important for you to keep a very calm head and calm demeanor and to not feed into that. If not, it will turn into a full-blown argument, and that's something that you just don't need in January or literally any month of the year. I can see here within the Nine of Swords that sleep patterns are kind of not the best for you in January, group number 3. And I have to be honest with you, that's why I also never prepare any piles of cards, and it's so important for me to just read it as I receive it. Sleep patterns are concerning, and it could also be because you're spending so much time in lovey-dovey mode and maybe even being physical with another person that you just don't get as much sleep as you really need or would like to have. So that for a short period of time is something that you shouldn't be too concerned of, but try not to let it become a pattern or a habit. Try to ensure that you create a sleep routine as much as you possibly can. As I can see here within the High Priestess, that if you want to learn and grow on a spiritual level, you simply need your rest, and you also need some alone time, which is something that you also have to let other people understand who are constantly tugging you into a million different directions. You have to set boundaries and also tell them, hey, I need time to myself. I need time to grow, to learn, and to spend time doing the things that I've always wanted to. And that could be learning a new instrument, that could be trying a new sport, that could be going to the gym, learning to cook new recipes. Doing a lot of these things for yourself will allow you to grow immensely and will also allow you to feel more confident in yourself and your abilities moving forward, because you have taught yourself something before, right? For example, me having my own business, Bow Life, it feels really good to me to have that accomplishment and to have done that alone without any type of external help, both emotionally or financially. I mean, only my husband who supported me emotionally, which is not only, but you know what I mean. Kind of doing it by myself, but having a partner there who is supportive, but knowing that this is something that I can accomplish and I can do no matter what happens tomorrow to the business that I already built. I know that I have the confidence and the power to do it again because I've already done it successfully several times before. I have confidence within me that I can do it again, but I also know how important it is to spend a lot of time learning to hone my craft and to hone my business ventures. I can see here within the Lapis Lazuli that problems resolving for you, that is basically something that you can do only through self-reflection during the month of January. Sorry, I'm feeling a little choppy speaking group number 3 because I'm finding it hard to find the appropriate words. But in Lapis Lazuli, know here that the only way that you can solve problems for yourself financially, emotionally, spiritually is through spending time in solitude. And yeah, some people are not going to like it. Some people are going to accuse you of not spending time with them or them not being important enough to you. As long as you come from a place of love and you explain to them what you're going through and that you need time for growth and you need time for yourself right now, you are not obligated to do any more than that, and they are also not entitled to your time whenever they want or it pleases them. I can see here within the Labradorite group 3 that your psychic abilities are really kind of tugging on you during the month of January, and you may start to feel like you're even low-key going a little bit crazy. Like you're hearing things that you never heard before. You're seeing things that you never noticed. You're feeling things in a way that is so much more intense and so much more connected to the earth and maybe also cycles of the moon and so on. And you're noticing here within the Labradorite, well, you won't know what it is at the time, but you're noticing that something is shifting internally, something is changing profoundly. And at the time, you just won't be sure what it is. It may be all very overwhelming and confusing, but you will slowly start to realize that these are actually your psychic abilities. This is actually your intuition that is kicking in and that is helping you to know what direction to move into in your life, that is guiding you into a specific area that you have yet to explore and into a specific psychic ability that wasn't noticeable to you prior to the month of January. So January is definitely filled with a lot of very intense emotions, with a lot that you're going through that you have to just experience by yourself and alone, that is inexplicable and that you can't find the right words for, but it is a big month of growth for you. And last but not least, I can see here within the Larimar that you have a strong connection to the water and the ocean. So spending time by the water or by the ocean is a very therapeutic way for you to ground yourself and also to center yourself in a way that you've maybe been craving for a very, very long time, that your body and your psyche simply needs. If you don't live anywhere close to a lake or the ocean or any other type of body of water, think also a river. What you can do is run a beautiful bath and soak in it, put some bath salts in it, listen to some ocean wave sounds, maybe even put on a little ocean documentary so you can really feel like you're in the same energetic frequency as the ocean, and that can help you to recharge. Because emotionally speaking, while January is super fulfilling and you have that soulmate connection that is establishing itself and flourishing and blossoming for you, that can also be a lot to take in, right? It can also be a bit overwhelming and draining. So it's important that you recharge yourself and that you give yourself time to find your spot in your romantic relationships as well, to find out who you really are as an individual in a relationship, that you don't just melt into one and lose yourself. And of course, with your psychic abilities kicking in and you learning of a new psychic ability of yours, you being clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient, this is of course also a little bit scary and it can be a lot. So you retreating from the world and also maybe not having a lot of time for every single person like you usually do is understandable. Make sure that you explain it to the people who are maybe upset about that. And even if you can't show up to work as much as you want to because of your mental health and simply needing a break, try to explain that and honor the fact that you're going through different seasons and you're starting off the year, you're starting off in January, going through something really heavy, through heavy growth, through heavy connections on a romantic level, and that too is a big deal. That too is not easy to experience, and to give yourself time and space as much as you need and to take it without feeling bad. So group 3, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed your super detailed January prediction. Make sure that you leave a little peacock emoji down below in the comment section if you have a peacock emoji. If you don't have a peacock emoji, simply write peacock down below in the comment section to let me and others know that you made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much for being here. Know that I'm sending you many blessings, lots of love, and I'll catch you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, all of my beautiful souls of Group 4. You chose the Spirit Animal Oracle deck in conjunction to the Citrine to help guide you for the month of January. This is the beautiful Citrine that you chose. You may not have known this before, but this is the stone of abundance and prosperity, especially earthly abundance. So if you're looking to draw more wealth into your life, this is the perfect crystal for you. And you may have intuitively felt drawn to the stone because January will be a more prosperous month for you than you expected. But let's figure out all the little details and what is coming towards you precisely during the month of January in this really detailed prediction. So lean back, relax, and enjoy group number 4. We've got the lizard spirit, we've got the butterfly spirit, and the flamingo spirit right off the bat. So in the lizard spirit, I can see here that January is going to be all about some of the visions that you had coming true, and the butterfly spirit confirms that this transformation is taking place for us. So just as a caterpillar would transform into a butterfly, we have your dreams actually coming to fruition and actually becoming a real reality for you. And I can see here within the flamingo spirit that for a little bit in January, before that happens, before it takes place, you are going to have to learn to embrace the in-between. And by in-between, I mean that space between starting and working and actually accomplishing a dream, right? That space between starting to study something and actually getting your degree. The space between starting off new in a job and actually being a manager, the CEO, the boss, wherever it is that you're trying to head. Or maybe you just want to be in the same spot and be happy in the spot that you're in. Be grateful for all that you have. Not everybody wants to be the boss, the CEO, the manager. Some of us would prefer to have less responsibility in that regard, but more space in our heads in order to think of other things and fill our days and our lives with thoughts that don't circulate around work. And that is so valid. And we have to start to normalize that not everybody wants to be that big CEO or entrepreneur or boss or anything like that. A lot of us also like to just be led in our jobs so that in our spare time we can creatively flourish and thrive and take the lead. We don't have to lead in every single venture in our life. Just like in relationships, there is usually one person who is a bit more of a leader in a relationship and the other person who is more of a follower or more of a supporter, so to say. And being a follower isn't always something negative and doesn't show that you can't be a leader in other areas of your life. So don't underestimate yourself and don't underestimate you embracing certain follower roles in areas of your life where it's maybe not even worth putting all that work in to be a leader. And that's one thing that I see here in the pig spirit. You're using your mind very wisely, group number 4, and you're discerning where it makes sense to become a leader and step into your leadership role and where you're honestly just wasting your time. So for example, if there is a part of your work or your studies where, you know, a lot of people want to have the prominent role, they want to be the A student or they want to be the manager or the boss, it may not even be worth you putting a lot of work into kind of outperform them because you can tell that they have no life, right? There's no point in being the CEO of a company or a corporation or, for example, being a straight A student if you see those people's lives right now and you don't want that. If the current manager or the current CEO doesn't have a life or is miserable or has to basically work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and never is able to take a vacation and does a lot of things that are questionable in their business tactics to be successful, you may not want to actually lead and become like them, right? You may not actually want their role. You might want a very different role for yourself. The same goes for someone who is maybe the straight A student in your class or in your year. If you see how much that they sacrifice in order to be there, it may actually just teach you ahead of time that it's not worth sacrificing all of that time with your family or friends or just taking care of your mental health just in order to have a higher grade. Like, you can use your mind very wisely to already find out whether it's worth it to you or not worth it to you. And you can learn from other people's experiences before putting yourself in that situation and then having to learn it the hard way. You can learn simply by observing and using your mind wisely. Next up, we've got the Seven of Pentacles. And in January, I see you doing exactly that. So in the Seven of Pentacles, which corresponds to all things in the earthly realms concerning your career, your professional life, your health, as well as your time management, the Seven of Pentacles shows me here that you're kind of just allowing for things to happen. You're not pushing anything, right? You're just standing there watching the fruit grow and watching everything that you've put effort into thrive and develop into more than it was when you started. And that's really good. Group number 4. You're not going to want to put too much pressure into any type of work projects. In January, the year is just starting out. You're maybe also still a little bit tired from 2021, and to just recuperate and take a little bit of time to just watch what you've already planted grow is a great idea for you. I can see here within the Nine of Cups that you have lots of choices, or at least you are choosing to believe that you have lots of choices. And this is a really big one when it comes to choices in life. A lot of people feel like they only have one choice, or they have no choice, right? Well, I guess that is often one choice, that they just have to go with whatever cards have been dealt to them. But a lot of that is also perspective. Like, for example, if you're working a job that you really don't like, a lot of people would figure, well, I don't have a choice. I need the money. But the Nine of Cups shows you here that you always have a choice. You may not like the other choices, or the other choices may seem scary, or they may seem like a big risk, but you have the choice of quitting or looking for another job or starting your own business, or simply trying something that you never thought would work on the side while you're even still in the job that you don't like, and then turning that into a main hustle and a main occupation. The Seven of Wands here shows me that you're being called to not back down. As you can see here with the wand, with this kind of like stick, if you will, it's important for you to remain ready to fight for your dream, ready to fight for what feels good for you mentally as well as spiritually, because honestly, too many of us are wasting our times in occupations and in jobs that we don't enjoy, that we don't love, buying things to impress people that we don't care about and who couldn't care less about us. And breaking that cycle is something that is so important. And the Seven of Wands shows me here that you didn't come to play in January, group number 4. You're seeing how you have other options. And yes, some options may seem more daunting and more scary than others, and you're cool with that. But the most important thing is really that you're coming to the realization of the fact that there are other options. And that's a big step that a lot of people don't even get to. And simply just realizing means that the options are now feasible to you. They are now within reach, because if you wouldn't even notice those options and see that they're part of your reality, then you wouldn't even have them as a choice. I can see here within the Judgment card, as well as the Seven of Pentacles, that you may judge all of the work you've put in really harshly. Okay, so you could judge some of the projects that you've had in the past or that you've led. You are most likely going to judge them a little bit more harshly than necessary during the month of January. But it's important for you to remind yourself that, of course, you always grow, and not everything that you create is going to be a reflection of your current state. Just as, for example, the tarot decks that I have created and published and authored, yeah, I look back at some things and I feel like I've grown, and I feel like being hard on myself for color choices, for choices of words, for choices that I make in the design, and I feel like it could have been better like this or better like that. But dwelling on what has already transpired isn't going to get you anywhere. It's also not going to change the choices you've made in the past. So try to not be so harsh on yourself, especially when you see bodies of work of yours that you did in the past, that you completed in the past. take it with a very mature approach. That's one thing that I see in the Knight of Cups that you are being propelled to do. Be mature about it, as in treating yourself like you would treat that child or that friend who's being hard on themselves, your inner child, nurture it. If you look back at artwork or silly things that you wrote down or drew as you were a kid, I don't think you'd be so hard on it, group number 4, nor would you expect it to be a beautiful, like Picasso painting, would you? The Knight of Cups does show me here that it's important for you to stay in that mindset of simply being receptive to, okay, I could have done this or that better, but not beating old you up for what the current you sees, because the old you didn't have the mental capacity that the new you has, right? The past you didn't have the sense of enlightenment and connectivity to source, the universe, and yourself, and everything that you're capable of that you have now. That's why it's called evolving and growing. So don't beat your past self up for what it was capable of at that point in time, because regardless of what you're capable of now, you did the best that you could in the past. So don't beat past you up now or compare the past you to you and how you are right now and what you're able to develop and come up with and produce at this point in time. It's not fair, right? It's like comparing someone who's had a head start in life to someone who has had to start from the bottom, someone who had to start below zero. So never compare yourself to the old you or to other people either. All you have is this moment anyway, so there's no point in doing that. You can't change anything. And the same goes for comparing your success to other people. You don't know how much of a helping hand they may have had along the way. You don't know how much social status that they already had ahead of time before they became successful with whatever it is that they're doing right now. So it's very important for you to become conscious of you only knowing your story. So therefore, never compare yourself to who you were a long, long time ago if it's dragging yourself down. Next up, we've got the moon. So in the moon, I can see here that your divine feminine is being charged and affected and is really kind of bubbling to the surface. In January, you may find that your natural cycles and hormones are feeling a little bit out of whack or just very connected to the moon phases. Think during full moons, for example, feeling really restless and like you can't get to sleep. And maybe the new moons feel like you just want to scream and let go of baggage that you've been holding on to, which is very typical for these moon phases in particular. But I can also see here a very eclectic style coming out for you, okay? Not being afraid to wear whatever feels right, no matter what anyone may say, and being your authentic self, no matter how society has painted that out to be or has vilified that. Also stepping into your divine femininity more than you have in the past, using your mind wisely. Well, yeah, okay, maybe at work, it's not an appropriate place for you to embrace who you are sensually and in your divine feminine. But at home, wearing things that are more, not like that are more feminine, because there's not really just one way to describe femininity, right? That are more feminine to you, that make you feel like you are stepping into a very sensual, divine feminine version of yourself. And that may be wearing lingerie alone. It may be wearing a really nice outfit. I mean, I know that I have a lot of men who watch my videos as well. So apply this to what you would wear that would make you feel maybe more connected to your divine feminine, because we all have obviously masculine and feminine energy within us, and it's important that we learn how to take care of both sides, that we learn how to integrate them and incorporate them into our lives in a way how there's no friction, but there's actually flow, and we can actually be at peace with both of it. In the Ace of Pentacles, I see here that doing a little bit of shopping during January is actually really going to serve that divine feminine side of yourself. So getting some things that really make you feel good, some outfits, pieces of clothing, home decor. You could go to thrift shops if you want to create as little new waste as possible and support local businesses, and just simply get things that make you feel good about yourself, your body, your appearance, and the space that you live in. As I can see in the Ace of Pentacles, the moon, the pig spirit, that this is going to have you feeling really a lot more calm, a lot more happy with your space and body and its image and the appearance of the things that surround you, group number 4, because what you wear can really change how you feel. If you wear something that you feel is really comfortable and flattering, it can give you a boost of confidence. So while the actual act of, for example, shopping clothes doesn't give you happiness with longevity, it fades. Having pieces of clothing that make you feel really good every time you wear them, because fact of the matter is 99.9% of us have to wear clothes every single day to go out to do the things that we want to do. There are only very, very few, a handful of people in this world who don't have to bother wearing clothes. So what you choose to put on your body, how it feels on your skin, how it smells, how it makes you feel, the type of chemicals that are in it or not in it, all of that really does affect your mood as well as your confidence and your well-being. So take your shopping habits and the impact that your shopping has on you very seriously, and also make sure that rather than judging how far you've come or who you were in the past, judge what you spend your time, effort, and money on more harshly and more closely. For example, are fragrances necessary in skincare products? They're most likely not. All that fragrance does is dry your skin. Is it, for example, necessary to have filler products and things that go in your pantry, a lot of E numbers and things like that? Or could you swap that out for healthier alternatives, or try to quit any processed food altogether? These are all things that I can see here in the Ace of Pentacles that you're looking into and you can incorporate really smartly when it comes to the earthly realms in your life and the new things that you're purchasing. I can see in the Eight of Wands that you're learning very quickly that not everything is as it seems, and sustainability as well as things being, for example, cruelty-free, those are very different things, very different areas, right? One, sustainability does not mean that it's also cruelty-free or that people have been paid fair wages, and it also doesn't necessarily mean that it's organic, and you're just looking into all of those different categories, what they truly say about products and which ones you want to focus on and support more and make a part of your life. Ooh, we had the moon show up for you, group number 4. The moon popped right out of the pile, and we've already had the moon show up for you here. And we spoke about your divine feminine, right? We spoke about the fact that that is what you're really going to be feeling, and you're going to feel very connected to your natural cycles. I did talk about this on my vlog channel as well, feeling very connected to the natural cycles of my body, and that sometimes making it hard to get up early in winter, just as an example. But there are also other cycles, such as if you're female, then, you know, a menstruation cycle that is really in tune with the moon and the nature, and just overall your psyche being affected by the moon. That is one thing that I can see here that can also kind of cloud your judgment a little bit. If, for example, PMS is something that you suffer from, or you're very restless during full moons and it affects you very visibly and you can feel that something is different in your body, I can see that making any big decisions during that time in January is not a good idea. It's best for you to intuitively listen to your body, because it will be feeling a little off and a little bit all over the place, and get to know why this feeling is so new to you. And rather than labeling a new feeling or something that feels off as bad, maybe try to get to know it and try to figure out why you feel that way, why your body is trying to express itself in this shape and form. The High Priestess shows me here that a deep sense of self-reflection is also going to let you see through anyone's BS. So in January, there will be some people who are trying to sell you dreams, business ideas, just things that aren't what they seem, and they know that. Okay, that's one thing that I can see here in the moon, and that's why it is so essential for you to listen to your instincts and also take a look at other people's body language and see if there are any types of reoccurring patterns that you find to give you actual insight about whether someone is telling the truth or not. So in the High Priestess and the Moon, for example, if someone always looks away every time they're talking about an investment or money or a business idea that they think would be great for you, or they always kind of reassure you, oh, it's not a scam, it's not a scam, but you never even brought up the word scam, it's like, why are you even mentioning this? Because I never even brought up that word. I never even said that I thought this would be a bad investment or this might be a scam. And just paying attention to the way people use their words and what it may actually say. So if someone is constantly trying to reassure you that something is real and it's not fake, it's like, why are you so hell-bent on explaining to me how something is real and not fake? If it's real, then why would you feel the urge to constantly reiterate that? Then you would simply let the results speak for themselves, right? Then you wouldn't have to convince someone that something is real if it's so real. So that is one thing that I can see here in the Moon and the High Priestess. I'm pretty sure you get what I mean, group number 4, but I just like to explain things based on some examples as well to make sure that it's really crystal clear. The Ace of Pentacles, again, we have lots of double cards for you. This just shows that a lot of these things are a little bit more set in stone, okay? A lot of these things are confirmed to happen. We've had the Ace of Pentacles here, the Affirmations Tarot, as well as the Tarot in Wonderland over on the right. This is also a symbol of the start of a new business and a new career. So switching careers is something that may actually happen for you during the month of January, and I can definitely see in the Ace of Pentacles that it's going to feel good though. While you may feel excited in a sense of also being a little bit scared, the Ace of Pentacles shows me here that you're going to know that it's the right thing for you, and you're going to feel like you're making the right choice, and just overall like you're actually doing what your heart desires for you to do. I can see here in the Eight of Pentacles that you're doing all this because you want more security. To you, it's never just about having money to buy more stuff. To you, money means security and freedom, and that equals happiness, because while money, as many people say, doesn't buy happiness, it actually kind of does really help with it, because when you're financially stable and secure, which is one thing that we just all need to deal with, the fact that you need money to live in this society. And if you're watching this video, you somehow have Wi-Fi or a phone or a laptop, you know that things are not cheap in this world. You simply have a lot more peace of mind, which gives you the time and the freedom to do the things that you love, and that is happiness, right? So having financial stability is happiness, and the Eight of Pentacles shows me that you're taking a leap because you're trying to go for that financial stability, for that financial independence for the long run, and you would rather work really hard for a couple years, work the way other people are not willing to work in order to lead a life that a lot of people will not be able to lead because they didn't want to make the sacrifices. And that is the type of mindset that I can see here for January for you, group number 4. And the Six of Pentacles shows me here that you'll have a lot more to give the more you put yourself out there as well. And it may seem counterintuitive. It may seem like spending time and money on things that isn't just business or growing your finances is actually simply just going to cost you time and money, but that is not true. The more you invest in other small businesses, creators like yourself or business people, and you invest time into people who support you and who love you and care about you, the more you will actually see all of that great energy come right back to you and serve you in the earthly realms. We've had Pentacle cards show up a lot here. We've had the Six of Pentacles, we've had the Ace and the Eight of Pentacles all within the last 3 cards, and it is definitely a symbol here that good things are happening in your career and your finances, and that also your health is looking up. I see that here in the Ace of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles, so you're not going to have to spend so much money on trying to keep your health up. It's more about maintaining, and that there are no new like doctors or medical bills that are coming towards you in January. I I can see here within the Hermit that spending alone time is a big part of January, going a little bit into hermit mode, but you just find being alone really enlightening, especially in January, because it feels like a whole new leaf is being turned. So the Hermit showing up here within your reading, also when it comes to your financial decisions, shows me that you're learning a lot on your own. You don't really have a lot of people in January to teach you things about financial literacy and wisdom, so you're teaching yourself a lot of the lessons that you wish you would have learned, and that's fine, but you need that time alone to yourself to write things down, to journal, to listen to podcasts, to inform yourself about what's coming. Next up, we've got the Ruby, and in the Ruby, I can see a lot of passion for financial literacy. Okay, so there's something that you're going to get really passionate about that has to do with finances. It could be stocks, it could be cryptocurrency, it could be investing in real estate, investing in businesses, building your own business, marketing, just some little nook, niche, and cranny that you will very quickly learn a lot about. I see that in the Eight of Wands as well. Things are moving rapidly, quickly. You are unafraid to ask questions, to Google things, to purchase books and audiobooks as well in order to continue to learn and grow your knowledge. The rutilated quartz shows me here that you are trying to bring more stability into your home. To you, it's important to own your own home, or, pay off the mortgage of a home that you're in. And I do also see here within the Ruby that you're really passionate about that topic in general, and you want to build a home and something that you can leave to future kids, or that you can just have with a lot of longevity. So the rutilated quartz and that connecting to your root chakra shows a lot of grounded energy that's present, and the apophyllite shows me here that while you're feeling really grounded, it's also easier for you to connect to other people, group number 4, so you're unafraid to even have small talk with other people, which is maybe not usually what you like to do. You're unafraid to talk to other people about your plans, what your next business moves are, because you know there's enough for everyone. We have the Two of Swords that popped out of the pile of cards in a very unexpected way, and the Two of Swords shows me here that when it comes to being intuitive, that is your jam. Okay, we had the Moon show up twice within your reading, group number 4, and from 2 completely different decks, of course, because there's only one Moon card in each tarot deck. But the fact that that shows up, I mean, there's a very small chance for that to happen. Also, the Ace of Pentacles showing up twice within your reading from 2 different decks again. It is definitely a sign and a symbol that there's something going on here with intuitively making decisions when it comes to business and your money, and those being the right decisions. And it's important for you to move, to make decisions. Don't procrastinate, group number 4. I see once in a lifetime investment opportunities and opportunities to learn. So if you see some sort of platform, some sort of book that you think you could learn a lot from, either about finances, investing, or just overall anything that teaches you more about how to manage your financial security, go for it. As I can see here in the Two of Swords, that you have the tendency to overthink, and that is really the only thing that will slow you down and cost you anything during the month of January. Next up, we've got the Ten of Wands. So group 4, in the Ten of Wands, you are tidying up some messes that you definitely didn't want to tidy up, that you maybe didn't create on your own. So you're maybe helping someone clear out their space, someone maybe moving out, and you're agreeing to help them move. You're agreeing to help them move into a new home, and it's just a lot of manual labor, sweat, and hard work. But the Six of Pentacles shows me that you're in a very giving spirit and mood, and you find that the more you give, the more you receive, so you're happy to do so. Last but not least, the Seven of Cups, or Seven of Chalices, however you'd like to call it, shows me here that you have many options before you, and you're choosing to lead from a place of gracefulness. You're choosing to lead from a place of care. You're not going for just material possessions. You're going for knowledge knowledge, you're going for wisdom, you're going for results with longevity rather than anything that is just a quick fix or a quick buck. You're all about that delayed gratification and not the instant one. I mean, the instant one is nice too, but I can definitely see here the Seven of Pentacles that you stand before many options here, okay? And there are some options to try the quick bucks route. There are some options to lean more into love and friendships and maybe also building something from the ground up. And you're definitely choosing the delayed gratification route in January and choosing to believe that you have all the time that you need in this lifetime rather than feeling stressed or feeling like you're behind or anything like that, which is a very healthy way for you to lead in January. So group number 4, this is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. I hope that all of these messages and pieces of wisdom and advice from the divine and the universe help you to create the best January 2022 that you could possibly have. And I truly do also hope that you're doing amazing and know that I'm sending you tons of love. Leave a butterfly emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know that you made it all the way to the end of your reading, and I'll catch you during one of my upcoming predictions.